Hey, what's up guys? John here. The Dow dropped 1,100 points. A lot of people are shocked and scared and nervous about what's going on in the market. I personally, I knew this was coming. I've talked about where the stock market was 8 months ago, saying that, the elite are selling here. This is probably a good place to exit. And we're on this downward trend. If you look at the stock market right now, just year to date, you look at that, what does that chart signal to you? What does that communicate? It communicates fear. Communicates pessimism. It communicates that the optimism is leaving the room and people are starting to get very, very nervous about where the world really is as a whole and where this economy really stands. This Dow Jones, what they're saying though is very fascinating, and I think it's much deeper than what a lot of people are thinking about. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is heading for the biggest loss since 2020 on Wednesday after another major retailer warned of rising cost pressures, confirming investors' worst fear over rising inflation and rekindling the brutal 2022 sell-off. They're talking about, Walmart and some of the big corporations. They are scared. They're nervous about, costs. But, what I see here that's unique about Walmart and Target is that if you look at Amazon, for example, Amazon has been making its own shipping containers and chartering its own ships since 2018. You look at Walmart. Walmart is another major company that is directly invested in shipping rather than shipping through a third-party service like UPS, which then puts its packages on ships and planes. Walmart's begun chartering its own ships as of last month. So you have companies that are controlling their own shipping and distribution, complaining about costs. These companies are low-cost providers. Now you look at what traditional small businesses are dealing with. Freight shipping rates rose since autumn 2020 and continue to climb into 2022, especially for international shipping prices. According to Freightos, the cost of shipping containers is up 80% since November of 2020 and has almost tripled over the past year. All right, so you have Walmart, you have Target, you have these companies concerned about cost. What ultimately this means is that Walmart and Target and Amazon, these companies, they set the tone for pricing. They can move prices any which way they want. If they move them up 10% or 20%, what are we going to do about it? Very little. Small business, if their costs are up 80% over the last 2 years, and gasoline prices are increasing and their own labor costs are increasing, what does this mean? It means there's going to be no way in which a small business is going to be able to compete with a large-scale corporation like Target, Walmart, or Amazon. Now, what these corporations are doing, which I've also talked about a year ago, I mentioned on this channel, they can increase their wages far past minimum wage. And they can easily do it and really get, all the brownie points for doing it, because all they can do is they'll just bake it into the cost of goods and they'll sell it to us and we'll pay for the cost. And then ultimately, it gives them the notoriety and credibility of paying people a living wage, meanwhile pointing the finger at small business for not doing such a thing, right? And so what's going to happen? As they increase cost, they're going to do it for the cost that they sell items to us, and they're going to build in incentives and bonuses to attract great talent and hire people. And then what's ultimately going to happen is that we're just going to pay for it, and small business is going to suffer. The Dow shed 1,164 points, or 3.6%, or the average's biggest decline since October 2020. The S&P traded 4% lower, the biggest drop since June 2020. The NASDAQ composite slipped 4.6%, the largest fall in the tech-heavy index since May 5th. The selling was broad and intense on Wall Street, with just 13 members of the S&P 500 in the green. Markets returned to heavy selling after two back-to-back quarterly reports from Target and Walmart stoked investor fears of rising inflation. It's the fifth Dow decline of more than 800 points this year, which all occurred. The stock sell-off intensified within the last 1 month, according to fast set data. It's clear that transportation costs matter, and they're impacting some of the largest companies, said Kim Forrest, founder of Brocco Capital. So I think investors are scratching our heads going, so who's next? And they're giving visibility into what's happening to the consumer, right? What's going to happen? This is very obvious. What's going to happen is that we're going to start seeing people, small business owners and consumers, start to sell stock and sell things that they need to make good on day-to-day expenses. It's very obvious. When these Target, Walmart, and these Amazon, these people, they have so much power and so much control. It is absolutely insane to me. They were deemed the essential business for the last 2 years, right? And so this whole time they're just getting bigger and bigger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And then small business, what's happened to them? Their costs are going up 80% on transportation. Their labor costs are skyrocketing. Minimum wage in California is $15.50 an hour. It's skyrocketing everywhere. You have gasoline prices going up, $5.50, $6 a gallon in a lot of cities. Things are going really, really crazy for a lot of small business owners. So when they are talking and reporting on these earnings, 1,100 points, that's nothing. To me, really, this is nothing. We look at where the Dow was over, just the last a couple of years. It's just been a rocket ship all the way to the moon. Everything's just been skyrocketing since really April. May, it just really took off. So over the last 2 years, it's just been picking up. And people think the stock market, you can only make money. People with no knowledge, no experience, they've never traded in a bear market. They've done very little outside of any type of challenging market. They think that they're the best stock trader in the world. They think they can invest and they can do everything themselves. And a lot of people don't know what is happening right now in the world and what is going to be happening over the next year and 2 years. And so we're going to really see who the smart and savvy investors are. That's why I think it's so important right now. If you are thinking about investing, you're considering, hey, John, what should I do? This is a great time to pick up a book and to read and study and learn and to kind of take a pause and figure out what you really intend to accomplish and not make an emotional decision. Because a lot of people, they make emotional decisions. They'll invest and they want to buy something real quick or sell something real quick. They want to do something quickly and emotionally. Smart investors don't do that. They pull themselves back, they collect their emotions, they come up with a plan, they figure out what they're going to do, they execute on that. This is the moment, because we're going to have so much fear in the market coming soon. I mean, right now, I don't even consider this fear. I consider this kind of like a wake-up call for a small portion of America. I consider this a light wake-up call. Soon, we're going to start to see the real wake-up call. When milk is $10 a gallon, when gasoline's $8.50, $9 a gallon, we're going to start to see people really start to get concerned. We're going to start to see shipping and distribution to where they won't even deliver items to you. You're going to have to go pick it up because they can't afford to deliver it to you because their margins are so slim. This is what I think is ultimately going to happen. I think we're going to just start to see a whole new change in society. The way that we consume, the way that we live, how we spend money, how we make money. I think all of this is about to change. And we're leaving a whole history of how things used to be and how things were and how people invested and traditional retirement plans. We're leaving that whole thing behind us. And we're stepping into this new environment, which is going to be mainly tech-based. We're going to be stepping into this artificial intelligence. We're going to be stepping into a whole new society over the next 5 years, 10 years. That's why I think it's so smart right now to just take a pullback, to digest what's going on, come up with a plan, be really smart, invest in things that you understand, and everything will be completely fine. I think we're going to have a really, really exciting time the next couple of years with investing and things like that. I'm an optimist. I'm an optimistic guy. On this channel, I talk about personal finance, real estate, business, and money, but I'm realistic as well about what's going on. I really want to study what's going on and report to you guys what's going on, because if we're not real about what's happening, how the hell are we ever going to make any real money? And how are we going to put ourselves in a position to gauge risk? I heard from a really, really smart attorney. He said the difference between a great attorney and everyone else is that a great attorney is measuring the downside before measuring the upside, and everybody else is measuring the upside before considering the downside. You got to consider the downside and what's going on. You got to consider the downside in the economy, in the market, before you put your money on the table. What do you think about all this? Drop your comments below. Hit the like button. Subscribe here. Also subscribe to my second channel. It's going to be a podcast and an interactive show where people are going to be able to call in. It's going to be really cool. And TikTok, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, everything's in the banner. I'll catch you guys later.